the sun was setting over the Tanzanian coast, casting a golden glow across the calm waters of the Indian Ocean. Amina, a young mermaid with shimmering scales and long, flowing hair, swam close to the shore, her curiosity piqued by the sounds of human laughter and celebration. As she peered through the waves, she saw a grand beachside party. Colorful lanterns swayed in the breeze, and the aroma of grilled fish and spices wafted through the air. But what caught Amina's attention was a small bundle, left unattended near the water's edge. Driven by an irresistible urge, Amina swam closer. Her heart raced as she realized it was a human baby, wrapped in a soft blanket adorned with golden threads. Without thinking, she reached out and gently pulled the child into the water. The baby's eyes widened in surprise, but he didn't cry. Instead, he gurgled and reached out to touch Amina's face. She felt an instant connection, a warmth spreading through her chest. In that moment, she made a decision that would change everything. With one last glance at the shore, Amina disappeared beneath the waves, taking the child with her. She had no idea that she had just stolen the newborn prince of Tanzania. Back on the beach, chaos erupted. Queen Zuri's anguished screams pierced the night as she discovered her son was missing. King Jabari, his face a mask of fury and fear, ordered his guards to search every inch of the coastline. As the royal couple's world shattered, Amina swam deeper into the ocean, cradling the baby close to her chest. She whispered soothing words in a language he couldn't understand, promising to love and protect him always. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The human child, whom Amina named Bahari, meaning ocean in Swahili, grew stronger and more curious with each passing day. She taught him to swim, to breathe underwater using magic, and to communicate with sea creatures. But as Bahari grew, so did the whispers and stares from other merfolk. They couldn't understand why Amina had brought a human child into their world. Some feared it would bring the wrath of the humans upon them, while others saw it as a betrayal of their kind. Amina tried to ignore the gossip, focusing instead on raising Bahari with all the love in her heart. She told him stories of the land above, painting pictures of a world he couldn't remember but somehow longed for. Meanwhile, on the surface, Tanzania was in turmoil. The loss of the young prince had left a gaping wound in the heart of the nation. Queen Zuri had fallen into a deep depression, spending her days staring out at the sea, convinced her son was still alive somewhere. King Jabari, consumed by grief and anger, became a harsh ruler. He imposed strict laws on coastal communities, believing someone must have taken his son. The once joyful beaches of Tanzania became places of fear and suspicion. As the years passed, Bahari grew into a strong, handsome young man. His skin had taken on a pale, almost translucent quality from a life spent underwater, but his eyes remained a deep, rich brown, a reminder of his true heritage. One day, as Bahari and Amina were exploring a coral reef, they stumbled upon an ancient underwater cave. Inside, they found a mysterious stone tablet covered in strange markings. As Bahari ran his fingers over the carvings, they began to glow, revealing a prophecy: a child of two worlds, born of land but raised by sea, shall bridge the divide and set both realms free. When the moon is full and the tide is high, the truth shall be revealed, and old wounds will die. Amina's heart raced as she realized the prophecy spoke of Bahari. She had always known this day would come, but she hadn't expected it so soon. With tears in her eyes, she turned to the young man she had raised as her own and began to tell him the truth about his origins. Bahari listened in stunned silence as Amina recounted the night she had taken him from the beach. His mind reeled with questions and emotions he couldn't quite name. Part of him felt betrayed, but another part understood the love that had driven Amina's actions. As the full moon approached, tension grew both above and below the waves. Strange occurrences began to plague the coastal regions of Tanzania. Fish swam in unnatural patterns, and the tides behaved erratically. The people whispered that it was a sign that the lost prince would soon return. On the night of the full moon, as the tide reached its highest point, Bahari made his decision. With Amina by his side, he swam towards the shore where he had been taken so many years ago. As they broke the surface of the water, they saw a crowd gathered on the beach. At the front stood an older couple, their faces lined with years of sorrow but their eyes still holding a glimmer of hope. Bahari's heart pounded as he realized these must be his true parents. He took a deep breath and stepped onto the sand, his legs wobbling slightly after so many years in the water. Queen Zuri's eyes widened in recognition. Despite the years that had passed, she knew in her heart that this was her son. She rushed forward, enveloping Bahari in a tearful embrace. King Jabari approached more cautiously, his eyes filled with a mix of joy and disbelief. As he looked at Bahari, he saw echoes of himself and his wife, and he knew the young man before him was indeed the lost prince. As the royal family reunited, Amina watched from the water's edge, her heart both breaking and swelling with pride. She had known this day would come, but it didn't make it any easier to let go. Bahari turned back to look at her, his eyes filled with gratitude and love. He extended his hand, inviting her to join them on the shore. After a moment's hesitation, Amina took his hand and allowed herself to be pulled onto the beach. To everyone's amazement, her tail transformed into legs as she touched the sand. It was as if the prophecy had granted her the ability to walk between two worlds, just as Bahari could. As the sun began to rise, casting a new day's light over Tanzania, Bahari stood between his birth parents and the mermaid who had raised him. He realized that he now had the power to bridge two worlds, to bring understanding and peace between the land and the sea. The lost prince had returned, but he brought with him a gift far greater than anyone could have imagined, the promise of unity between two realms that had long been separate. And so, as the people of Tanzania celebrated the return of their prince, a new era began. An era of cooperation and mutual respect between the humans of the land and the merfolk of the sea. All because of a mermaid's love and a child who belonged to both worlds.